and then message that I'm gonna promise that I'll listen to the rest of it over the weekend. Half past midnight, I start listening to it, and I can't stop. Now I kept listening to it, and I can't consume content quietly. I go, no way, say yes, you can't do that. And then Alsi Sa Pyar played episode 4, and I started humming. That's when my wife threw me out of the room. To cut the long story short, I had to listen to the whole thing at a go. So I'm absolutely delighted that I have the cast, writer director, Shiv Tandon, Pallavi Paranjpe, Ria Menon, Varun Tiwari, and Anuj Rampal. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Starting with you, Shiv. For our audiences, tell us what is And Now Live about.
Yeah, it's an audio web series. I think, first of all, that's something that is often unclear. It's a fiction show, it has characters and dialogue and scenes, and we're telling a story in that. But the show is, I think, it's coming from a very deep and soulful kind of question about why do we do what we do. I think our generation's key question in life is making some hard choices about where do we see ourselves in 5 years, 10 years. We're discussing this question continuously, and we're trying to course correct all the time. So it's a deep and spiritual almost investigation by these characters of what are they doing in the world, why are they on this earth. And the way we have taken in on that question is that the two characters, Dan and Nima, are in a band together. They have a band called Madhani. They are singer-songwriters, and they want to figure out whether they should follow their heart, make soulful music the way that they always wanted, or should they also sell their souls a little bit and make the commercial side of things and do some covers now and then. They have a really sweetheart manager called Chirag. Chirag is their greatest champion who's always telling them to do what they were always signed up for, follow their dreams and follow their passion, or I will leave. He's the sort of threat to their band life. And then the curveball comes, which is Manya, played by Ria. Manya enters their lives, and she's the one who's completely sorted in her head, and she throws a spanner in the works. And then what happens with these four young, talented, interesting people, and the music that they make, and the journeys that they go on. Yeah.
There is never a dull moment. It is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I heard it at a go. Have you guys worked together earlier? There was incredible chemistry amongst all of you. Tell me a bit about how did you all come together?
We've we all um, met through the project pretty much, except for Varun and Anuj, who are both old friends of mine, and I really love and respect their work as well. So I just reached out to them and I said that this is something that I've written, and I'd love for you to try for it. There were also, extensive auditions. We had a casting director who then got us some 200 plus actors to look for our Nima and our Manya. So I'm eternally grateful for this, casting call that happened, and we met Pallavi and Ria through that. So this project is what got us all. I don't think any of you all also knew each other, right? Before the show, before the.
No, no, we did not. But for the chemistry, I mean, a lot of credit goes to the time that we spent before really recording this. A lot of these audio shows that people really want to tell, they don't really go for extensive workshops or really rehearsals. And I remember people talking about when I used to go for audio rehearsals, they'd be like, "Are you doing rehearsals and workshops for an audio show?" Like, yeah, we're really going diving deep into it. And Shiv really wanted to make sure that everything, he was pretty clear what he really wanted. So all these workshops were directed in a way to find that chemistry and find what the show is about. And we spent time even during the writing process and even during after the writing was locked during the rehearsal process. And I think that is what really got the chemistry, the ease that I think and I hope that you heard on the show.
Ria, Pallavi, what would you say? And could you also tell me a bit about your individual careers in entertainment so far? Could you just tell me what kind of work have you done in the past?
I think this came out of the blue. I was not expecting this. I was in Pune back then, and a friend of mine with whom I'd worked on an ad as an actor just asked me to send a voice sample to her because she said, I've heard you're a voice artist. Why don't you just send a sample? And I said, Gana gana hai? She said, yeah, just send na, whatever. And I sent something basic, cupboard में जाके ऐसे phone पे record करके, and then I forgot about it. And then suddenly I got this email from Shiv, and then there was a phone call, and then there was an audition in person. And I gave that audition, I remember, in Shwetang's house. It was a home studio setup. And I was sure that I won't be selected because it was a Punjabi song. I'm not a Punjabi girl. And I am so grateful that they did select me as Nima. And I'm just extremely grateful. I'm basically a psychologist and an actor and a singer and a voice actor. And doing this, I could explore all my talents in one place. And I'm so happy that happened.
You're very cerebral and you're making all of us feel very inferior.
Oh,
Uh,
you.
Ria?
I think in my case, it's also very similar to, Nima, where it came out of the blue for me. I was also in Pune at the time, but what I was, I think the space that I was in, I was pursuing acting at the time in Bombay. So I would keep traveling from Bombay back to my folks in Pune, and my life was just on the road. And then I think when I saw this audition come across online, literally, the fact that it was for someone's voice, I don't know. I had a feeling. I just picked up on that. Maybe this can work for me because it's just something I encountered all my life anyway. That my tone was not as it's unusual. Maybe I don't know how to put it, but like this is the lower tone that I had. So when it came across to me that there's an audition for like a role where you have to actually your voice acting, and I was like, oh, okay, this could work out for me. Well, it's the same thing. Went in the cupboard, did an audition, tried to record something with emotions and tones, did the whole thing, and then I had a call with Shiv and the team, and then I think they liked what they heard, and then I met them in person, and I think the more I learned about what the character was, I think it was just a beautiful feeling to understand something like the character being what Manya was all about. So getting into that space, especially since as much as I was doing acting, I'm also a media professional. I've been in public relations and marketing all my life. So having a character play a very sorted role, like oh, she's sorted in the head, um, was a little unlike me, but I would love to have like I picked up characteristics from that. So it was a very nice thing that I could, it was a nice experience to just get into all of that. And of course, meeting these amazing people, I realized I was with some really great actors and people who have, done this through and through. And it was an amazing experience. And yeah, I found some great friends too. So
So clearly, this wasn't your debut, right? Have you worked in this space? Have you done acting before and now live?
I have done just some few, things on different OTT platforms. The whole thing that every young new actor does before they want to get into it. So that's what I did. That's before I moved now to Australia to do my masters in communication. So it's essentially my second masters that I'm doing in public relations.
Okay, okay. Thanks. And Anuj, how about you? You said you're in the US right now. Is that work or holiday?
No, I'm currently training at the Lee Strasberg Institute, and I've been acting in Mumbai for about 5 years before this. A lot of theater, some shows on OTT. Uh, of course, always wanted to train more, learn more, and that's why I'm here to train with this institute currently. I have immense respect for Shiv. In my initial years in Mumbai, one of the pivotal plays that I did was Fistful of Rupees, which kind of really changed me as an artist, really helped me grow. And that's why, as soon as Shiv told me that he's writing this new thing, I just wanted to be a part of it, irrespective. And I am so glad that he was able to think that I can be a part of it and really contribute to it. I hadn't really done a lot of voice work before, but I had acted a lot of theater and a lot of work, a lot of other work that I'd already done. And with Shiv's direction on really how to really use this on voice and absolutely trusting him, because you really can't hear yourself. You just got to trust him. And I'm glad I did, because when I heard how it's coming out, and I was like, oh, okay, this is really good.
It's also, as a director, there was the big challenge of communicating your vision to the actors, because there's a lot of things that happen in a show like this that happen much later in the process, right? Like, it's just imagine if you had to shoot an entire film in front of a green screen and you never told the people what the green screen is going to have at the end, right? So I think as we were doing the recording and as we were discovering this storytelling form, which mixes monologues and scenes and mixes music and making of the music. So there's a lot of stuff that came in to the picture only after the recordings were done. So just, I mean, I was really happy that the cast was trusting me, because I'm sure they were quite confused. Ki bol kya raha hai, karwa kya raha hai, confusing hai. But I think once it came together, it sort of, I think, fell into place.
Yeah, I will go back to saying that, and now live has more chemistry than some of the films I've seen of late. And I'd say that, Shiv, when you are watching actors and you are watching it in the monitor and how the interaction between the actors is, you get an assessment of how this is going. But when you're listening to everything constantly the whole time, and you again record this also in parts, right? Were you confident that you're on the right track? Number one. And second, was this your first audio series?
Yeah, my first audio series, and but I mean, I'm a voracious consumer of that form. I love it. I think it's underestimated, how powerful the form can be, because somehow video and other sort of media, they make the audience sit back, right? Like, you can just sit back and let the content wash over you, but audio invites you forward. You're actually it's a much more intimate and much more two-way kind of interaction with the audience. So this was something that I knew already, and I felt like this story had exactly the kind of content and exactly the kind of questions and the form that would suit an audio form. So that was a very important choice. Which story fits this form is an important question. Not everything translates to video. Not everything translates to audio in the same way. So that's one. And then the second very important thing was that I just made sure I didn't watch the actors, because these guys are all excellent screen actors as well. So everything I'm directing, I'm standing like this.
Hmm.
I would never look at them, because if it's possible that their faces are doing fantastic things and it's not come to the voice. So I was always very careful not to look at their beautiful faces while directing. I think that that was a key innovation in the process.
I think this is a clarity that Shiv really had, that how audio will work and how video works, and it is absolutely different sometimes. The delicateness of our work that was coming out was because of constantly Shiv directing us that, oh, okay, this will look great on screen, this will look great on theater, but right now here I'd want it even lighter and even easier, so that it just becomes easy. So and specifically really changing the content to voice. So that's where the trust really came in forward, that okay, somebody who's really hearing it knows what's coming out, so let's just give in. So the more you give in, the more beautiful it came out. That I later understood. At that moment I was like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Actually want to say something here. Working with Shiv has been, it's always a collaboration. He's extremely open to what everybody has to say, but he's also very clear about what he wants. And it really, really helps me, especially when the director is clear about what they want, yet a little vulnerable about kya kare. There's a kya kare, and it really helps me to be confident and also contribute what I feel. Thank you, Shiv. I'll always keep thanking you.
Amazing. I mean, I'd never imagined in my life I'll be quoting Badsha, but और किन्नियां तारीफां चाहिए
Yeah, I
Never in my life.
I
I don't like Badsha.
I G-paid all of these people just before that.
When you were in episode 3 and 4, did all of you, the actors, not Shiv, all of you feel that this is such a beautiful story? It's going along so well. There is great chemistry amongst all of you. This should have been a video series.
I think I definitely kept bringing it up to Shiv, I remember, because I was like, I will fly back. I will fly back if you turn this into a video thing or make more of this story, take this forward. I swear I'll fly back for you, but just take this story forward. I think I started getting very invested in the story, not just as part of the story, because I mean, obviously, as you can tell from the show, I really can't sing. So I was in awe of watching Pallavi and Dan do as Anvarun, as in Dan and Nima do their magic, and it was so beautiful. So I was always of the opinion that yes, let's take this story forward. And then when I would watch them do their thing, it would just be so interesting. And you know, I mean, it's a story about artists at the end of the day, and we're a room full of artists. So to some extent, it's always relatable. It was maybe hitting the right notes, and then yeah, I think the whole just basically taking the story forward in whatever way it could be. Yeah, video would be great, but then just taking the story forward is what I remember. I kept telling him before I leave, I was like, I'll come back, but just don't forget this. Like keep marking it in your mind. Yeah.
So it was very enticing to constantly think about, when the story was coming out well, when the singers were like the songs were getting made, and we could see the chemistry really well. Very enticing to start thinking about, this would look great on video. But again, Shiv had a clarity about, okay, a video project is entirely different. You'll have to also change the script. Also have to change how the story is, and the audio, even though the story might be the same, but the direction is absolutely different. So I think that that clarity, that if at all it is a video, it is a different project altogether, kind of helped us stay first into this. And if it works great, and if we have to really translate it into video, that's a different project.
I've been working as a voice artist, and I've been dubbing a lot of cartoons. So it was always somebody else's work, somebody else's story. Through this, it was ours. And I am a very camera conscious person, even when I call myself an actor. So I was elated कि मैं तो दिखने नहीं वाली, बस सुनाई दूंगी. People will not see me, they'll hear me. But I think what this helped us with is to visualize something, and I think more people need to listen to it so that they have their own perspective, own visual about it. And the sound design helps a lot with it. I loved the process because I could imagine my own scenes while recording an audio web show.
It's a very different medium for me as well. When I came on board, it was a very different way that Shiv directed us, and kudos to him for this. To be honest, this is the first time where everybody was called in, even in the initial phases of stages of things. We sat down and we would do scenes a couple of times which weren't a part of the script, try and improvise and take it wherever it took. And it was a very new thing for us because it kind of gave me a lot of understanding of the character as well and the world. And secondly, about the soundscape of things, I think the first few times that we went into a studio, we realized that this is a different ball game altogether. If somebody is standing away from you in a different room, if you're in a car, you talk differently. So as an artist, I kind of felt that I understood that a lot. Just the sound play, just the way you can use your voice to convey certain things. So that really helped. And as far as making a video, that is always, I think we've all been very excited about the idea of it turning into a visual medium eventually. But like Anuj said, he was very clear about making this an audio series from scratch, the way we were doing it, that we stick to it.
Mr. Director and writer, what do you have to say?
Yeah, no, I'm very pumped for this to be a video as well, a video show as well. The key innovation in the writing, right, that took a long time, that I think Varun has hinted at, it took a long time to discover that for this particular show, is the fact that the actors, the characters switch between scenes and monologues directly to the audience, right? Look inside their minds, right? That we get because of that form. That took a long time to find, and once we found that, it gave us a completely different and more intimate and more rich way of talking about the inner lives of the characters. So that's something that you can't really do anymore on video. I think it's overdone and it's a different medium. So how you then turn that around and you still manage to give that feeling of how the inner lives are working on a video form will be very exciting to find. And then the second layer is the scale and the scope of storytelling, right? So in audio, the storytelling scope, we've only gotten up until they are still like small-ish artists who are doing a small gig at a small cafe. 100 people, 200 people have come, and then in video, we want to take that storytelling canvas all the way up to a gig with, say, 10,000 people are listening to them in a stadium, or those kinds of visuals where, like, how does that journey look on a visual medium will be very different. And I think that that's very exciting because that's exactly the kind of thing, like, बाहर से तो लगता है कि इट्स बहुत ही मतलब पहुंच गए हैं और आर्टिस्ट बड़े खुश होंगे और ये और वो, बट where you find out like actually what is going on in the artist's heart and what they have had to go through to get to this point, and whether they're still questioning themselves or not. So I think that's that kind of scale and scope of storytelling we can do on video.
I just thought of the whole, like, when he mentioned all of this right now, it just came back to me of how he mentioned that when we were recording, he wouldn't look at us. He wouldn't see how we're, reciting the lines or how we're saying anything. He would go to a corner and just stand in there, just not look at us. So when you actually think, like the way he spoke about, everyone just visualize it differently. The story they wanted to say was so clear in the way it would be there. You could hear it as opposed to anything that you can see. They're hearing the same story, but they're seeing it in different ways. So I think that made a big difference. So every time we would switch maybe a line that, like he mentioned, we'd rehearse something, but then if you're hearing it differently, Shiv would make that comment from there, like, okay, no, we have to switch this up. We're not hearing it the right way. So I think that's also something was part of a very fun process, even to just mix it up just because of what you can hear. So that was a very new experience for me. But yeah, fun nevertheless.
No, it's great to hear that. And, all of you sound so lovely and look so lovely. I'm sure Shiv will make sure that the cast remains the same when you guys turn into a video series for an OTT platform. Shiv, I'm speaking for all the actors here. Last question is, there is great musicality and it's really enjoyable. The background, the sound effects, the singing, of course, is really phenomenal. Do all of you really understand music? Shiv, I know you're a trained Hindustani classical singer. What about the others? And what that an important criteria when you were picking your cast?
आलसी सा प्यार है. I'm a singer. I'm not trained though. I think I get it from my father. It was a prerequisite in a way for Shiv to have his characters be singers themselves. So that really paid off, and that helped. Also, I am just going back in time. We had such fun jam sessions where we were coming up with these different versions of a song. We have some BTS of that. So I was also going through the old stuff that I had on my phone earlier. And that was such a fun process again, like to just make the song also. I mean, of course, the composition is completely his, but to be jamming together and getting a feel of a band. So the process was really enriching and a lot of fun, I think.
It was a prerequisite, and thank you, Varun, that you felt that I'm a trained singer, but I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not. I was in the school choir, and then I sang with the multiple bands. I sing in multiple languages. It's just a blessing, which I want to keep exploring.
Yeah, for the question of how to choose the actors, right? Like, I mean, on the one hand, there is significant requirement that everybody needs to sing, right? Or at least the top 3 or 4 of the this 4 people need to be able to sing, or and so on, right? For example, one of the story ideas we have is that maybe at some point Chirag also sings a little bit, and then it becomes something that everybody's like, "Arey, ye to apne band se अच्छा गाता hai." So these kinds of questions are all in my mind, right? Like, but eventually, the most important criteria, which I wasn't expecting to run into, was that the sound of the 4 needs to be unique, different, and yet the couples need to sound like couples. So that's actually something that took me a long time to figure out. Like, if you hear Anuj and Riya's voices, they sound like they're from the same family. And then Pallavi and Varun's voices are from the same family, like, so they have there's a oral connection that you can make between the voices as well. So that was a very big win. Once I found the right voices and they were matching so well, it just became so clear in the hearing of it that oh, of course they're together, of course those 2 voices are together and they're interested in each other. So that was actually harder than the music part. Credits for the music go to two people: Shwetang Shankar, who is our background score and our music director, and Ragini Tandon, who is my producer as well as my collaborator on the entire music, background score, composition, production of the songs, vocal recordings, vocal production. So these two people were instrumental in literally instrumental in making the music.
Before we conclude, we have to hear Alsi Sa Pyar. Because, that's the song which got me thrown out of the bedroom.
आलसी सा प्यार है, आलसी सा प्यार है, जिंदगी के हफ्ते में संडे सा प्यार है, आलसी सा प्यार है.
आलसी आलसी
फिक्र की तो लिरिक्स दिखा रहा है. वाओ.
आलसी सा प्यार है,
ये शिव.
फिक्र की है दवाई, चाहे रोज हो लड़ाई. मैंने वाइफ जी की लाइफ भी अपनी लाइफ है बनाई.
चाशनी सा प्यार है, चाशनी सा प्यार है, जिंदगी की थकन में बिस्तरे सा प्यार है, आलसी सा प्यार है.
Too good, yeah. Brilliant. Guys, thank you very much for speaking to us on Spotlight on Connected to India. And now live is amazing. I'm sure it's gonna go places. And wishing you